Well, I'd like to just simply say a couple of things. I've heard a lot about this happening last couple of days about the IMF bailout package is what I'd call it. So let me tell you this, that the ratings, the way this works, because I've worked with some international countries and treasuries to ensure that they get these funds, whether from the SARC countries or from the IMF. I work closely with a couple of countries, I won't name it, but I can tell you that. Just to basically go ahead and understand the basics of that. The first basic is, what is the sovereign rating of Pakistan? Number one. The sovereign rating of Pakistan is CCC. Now, when we say CCC, there's no way nobody wants to give you any money. Okay, that's the first thing. So, I don't know out of what pressures is IMF kind of, trying to eventually even discuss that. Because that kind of ratings, they don't do nothing. I'll be honest. Okay. Now let's say the conditions that they're putting on Pakistan. Do you think that Pakistan all of a sudden can eventually get out of the FATF? Do you think it's impossible? It's impossible. Then I think the problem with Pakistan is that actually I think whatever money that they've eventually raised out of their revenues, all of it is actually, majority of it is being spent on areas where they should not be spending. They should be spending that money on creating more jobs, creating more businesses, creating more, domestic manufacturing and a lot of other stuff. Because they're dependent on a lot of resources on various countries, So the problem with them is, and we've always had this Kashmir agenda, which has always been, I don't think they're capable of even handling what the amount of geographical region that they have and the number of people that they have, the population they have, they're not able to feed them also. So I don't think they're capable of anything at this point in time. I want to tell you something casually. The kind of forex reserves they're sitting on right now, $2.9 billion, any of the Indian billionaires can go ahead and eventually go ahead and take over a country like that in minutes. I can tell you that.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, see, I take over banks which are in bad shape. I don't mind if there's a proposition taking it over for India. If they're willing to finish the constitution, I don't mind that.
Well, we don't even have to take it over as a country.
Okay. Well, I think I can say one thing. There is no way that they're going to be able to raise that money because meeting the conditions are impossible. That's number one. Number two, I think the situation, looking at the terror situation there, I think, they've lived on it all their lives. So I think it's impossible to eradicate that now with the kind of mindset that they've got in the country. And the other most important factor is that I think that the major issues that they're going to face right now is no confidence from any of the countries. So basically, they don't have good relations with many, especially the neighbors. So in that case, you have to keep this in mind, that it's very difficult for them right now, a very difficult situation, unless they try to eventually go ahead and bring in a revolution by bringing a change in their mindset, which is impossible. So at this point of time, it is collapsing for sure. And I can tell you this, soon I think the Sri Lankan situation was even way better than this, okay? And even now, if you look at, things are changing in Sri Lanka. But if you look at Pakistan, it's not going to happen. Who's going to help them? Let me ask you this. No banks are going to fund them. No countries, who eventually are on the white list are not going to go out and help them at all in any situation whatsoever. Because let me tell you this, they're moreover a country which is known for terrorism. And that's the major problem with them. They eventually have to focus on development. India focused on development. So see, where is India today? Look at the budget of one municipal corporation in Maharashtra. In Mumbai, the budget is $7 billion. Can you imagine that? Just a little municipal corporation, in Mumbai. So imagine that, you can't even compare Pakistan with India. Not even a little corporation is bigger in size in terms of its budget. Look at India. They talk about Kashmir so many times. I have a question for Pakistan. My question is this. First of all, before you even think of doing anything, even fighting with another country, whatsoever it may be, for a land parcel, first thing is are you getting enough food for the tummies of the population of the country? Are you getting enough? I mean, I just saw somebody saying, take my kidney and give me atta. Can you imagine that? So how bad is the situation? I think that the problem with them is that, they're going to collapse. That's for sure. And I don't think so this IMF situation is going to really help through. If it does, then they're going to control the treasury of Pakistan for sure. I can tell you this. So they'll definitely have IMF people sitting in, trying to control everything and run the show. That's how treasuries are being ran when there's a lot of debt. And I don't think they have any assets of any sort that could eventually go ahead and fetch them anything at this point in time. India was way better even than the time that Ambassador Vora said, so I think they're not in that situation at all, because all the money that comes in, all the money that they have on their budgets is going in the pockets of their army, it is going in the pockets of the politicians. I mean, how do you grow? There is no point. There is no sources of revenue. If there is no sources of revenue, no taxes being collected, no businesses growing. Have you ever heard, in my life, I haven't heard a Pakistani company going global. Have you heard?
I have an IT firm called
one?
International Terrorism.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But no actual business is growing. And you look at India, India has so many entrepreneurs, so many people who are going global, so many companies that have gone global. There's a history because India only focused on development. They
Correct.
never focused on development. So look at Modi ji, ever since he's been there, India is at a track where the global positioning of India has completely changed.
Absolutely.
Look at where we act today. The situation has changed completely.
Absolutely.